Okay, welcome back to my channel. We'll continue our series on C++. And to do that, like I said, if you have been watching our previous video, which ended with the screen that you can see, the next thing we're going to talk about is control structure. And out of those control structure, as usual with other programming languages, we'll start with the if statement. The if statement in C++ goes this way. But before that, let's open a new project. And call it just open a new project, and then maybe a C++ 23 lion. I will say this one is if control. Let me use that word and I'll say create. I don't want to add unbounded to it. Yes, this window. So once it loads like this, the next thing for us to do is to start adding things in it. To add those things, we just need, for instance, if we want to do a program that checks, we want to check the environment is still rearranging and loading itself. We want to check if a number is even or odd. We can use the if statement to do that. So as CLion has provided the other ones for us, we can go ahead and add using namespace, the standard namespace. So the first thing, we'll clean up every other thing that is there. The first thing we'll see is, first thing we're going to write is int number. So we try to get the number from the user. So how do you get a number from the user? Out. Enter a number. In then the number. If num divide or modulus 2 is equal to 0. So the remainder, if the number is divided by 2 and the remainder is equal to 0, it should print out that the number is even. That the number is even. But if that is else, the else will be after this else. See out number is odd. then we have a return. Now, if we run this, you will see that it is going to ask us for a number, and to say whether that number is an even number or an odd number. So we'll test it. I like, because of for learning purposes, I like rearranging my screen this way. So it's asking for a number. I say 7. I press enter. Say 7 is a odd number. 7 is an odd number. You can test it with an other number. Thankfully, C++ have other looping method, but because I don't want my screen to keep loading every time, I will just clean off everything that is here and start another one. Now, for instance, I want to get days of the week. I want to get days of the week. So let's talk about days of the week. So I'm going to wipe this out, and we use that to explain switch statement. So we can say we're talking about a program that prints out days of the week, a day of the week, based on the number you have entered. Based on the number entered by the user. So the first thing is to include IO string. Then using namespace, under the namespace, then we have our int, then we will declare the integer day. The next thing is to collect the day from the user, enter the number of days, enter a number, enter a number. Enter a number between 1 to 7. So if the user enter a number between 1 to 7, we should be able to tell the user the particular day of the week that number falls on. So the next thing we are going to do is to collect it from the user, and that will be it. So you can use either if or switch case, but if you are using switch case, here is switch day, that is the condition. Now, if it uses case, if the case is 1, because we are expecting number 1 to 7, if the user enter 1, we see out Monday, and break. For Tuesday, we do the same thing. For Wednesday, we do the same thing. Thursday, we do the same thing. For Friday, we do the same thing. For Saturday, we do the same thing. For Sunday, we do the same thing. Then we have the 4th. Let's assume none of them works out. What are we expecting? That it is an invalid input or invalid day or whatever. And then the last thing, or not the least, or the last thing you can add in the scope of what we want to do is return. Then with these codes, we can now run the code. Now, if we run it, the first thing it's going to do is to ask us to enter a number between 1 to 7. If I enter 6, they tell me that that day is a Saturday. So 6 in the number of days in a week represents a Saturday. So those are some of the things we can do. Then we now move over. Those are the two basic control structures that C++ have. We also have while loop, but okay. So let's just talk about while loop, do while loop. We also have for loops. So for the selection, we have if and switch case. So let's move on to loops. Loops are a way of repeating a particular thing over and over again. So because we are moving to loops, I'll also take out whatever that is here and leave just the main things that we are supposed to see in an empty C++ file. So let's talk about loops. Now, for a for loop, we can just create an int and say sum, the number, and then we give it a sum of 0. Then when we come out, we now ask for a number, cout, enter a number, or let's say enter a positive integer to be very specific. Enter a positive integer, then we say cin n. Now, use for loop when you know the number of times you want something to run. So here we'll say for I equals to 1, I is less than or equals to n, I plus plus. So I plus plus, this you're initializing I, and then you're telling how many times it should run, and then you're telling how it should increase the number of times it will run. So you will start from I equals to 1 until it gets to any number that you have added there. And what do we want it to do? Simply let it just be adding the number. So we say sum is equals to sum plus 1. Like I always say, you know, this can be written as sum equals to sum plus I. That's what this is, the short form of writing this. Now, when we are done with that, we can come down. We can come down and do cout. Cout the sum. We can put other things inside that place and say the sum is the sum is that. Then finally add the return. And then we test again. Now enter a positive number. I can say, okay, I want to enter 5. 5 is a positive integer. So they say the sum is 15. How is this thing working? We say from I is equals to 1. So we start from 1 and do wherever I is less than the number that was given, I plus plus, sum is equals to 0. Now this is what is happening. It's saying that if I is equals to 1, add it to sum. Then increment, add 1 to the I and add it again. So I is equals to 1, I is equals to, sum is equals to 0, I is equals to 1. If you add add I 1 to that 0 to be 1, then you go again, you add 1 to I and you add it again, which means you have the sum is now 1. You now add 1, you now add 2 to that 1 to be 3. You go back again, you have 3, you now come and add it to 3, it will be 6. You now have 4, you now come and add it to 6, it will be 10. You now have 5, you now come and add it to 10, now it is now 15. That's why you're having 15 here. So that's basically how for loop work in C++. Another thing that we can do in C++ with regards to looping is the while loop. While loop, you use it when you don't know the number of times you want your application or you want a particular task to be performed. So use a condition to set why there is so thing, do so thing for me. So for instance, we can have int number. Then we can also have reverse, because we want to reverse the number of digits. So reverse is equals to 0. Now after this, we can see out to display a message. See out is for displaying a message. Enter a number to do this trick. We need to be specific. Enter a number 10 and above. 10 and above. So when the user enters that number, the next thing we're going to do is to see in to get the number. Then we say while number is less than or equal to 0. While number is not, let's see that is not equal to 0. We want these things to be reversed. Reverse is equal to reverse times 10 plus number divide by 10. Then we have number is equals to number divide by 10. Or as usual, we can do it shortcut, do 10 here. Then finally we do see out. Reverse number is reverse. And we can also put end line. Okay. So with this, we can now bring in our return. So this is a simple while loop. So if I enter any number, it will reverse the digits for me. So it's asking me to enter a number between that's 10 and above, and I want to enter a number 156. So we are expecting that it will show 651. So exactly 651. So this simple code here is what is doing it. Reverse is equals to 0 times 10 plus the number that you have entered, divide by 10, the remainder. It keeps working on it until it reverses their position. Now, if you say, okay, let's test it again, you want to use another thing, maybe just 41 or 42, and press enter, you see it as 24. So you see the power of while loop while also doing something like that. Now, do while is almost the same. Do while is almost the same. In do while, you are simply saying do this while you are simply saying do this while this is not equal to 0. While number is not equal to 0. So let's test it whether it's still going to give us the same answer. So 24. So 24 now becomes 52. So it's just a change of you have do here. So that's why do while are almost the same. These are some of the things we can do. So we've talked about the for loop. We talked about selection. We have discussed about selection. Under selection, we talked about the for loop. We talked about the if. Under selection, we talked about the if else or if statement. We talked about the switch. Case. Then we came down and talked about loops. Under the loops, we have talked about the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. Okay, please do well to ask your questions in the comment section, and it will be attended to as quickly as possible. Thank you very much.